Before you think about it, things have already gone. And speaking of which, when I was basically dropping my son into, his elementary, right? And I get to notice things that are standing out. And trust me, that school has had to really change the way they do business. So this is a PTA, Parent-Teacher Association Day. And you come in, so people are filling in some booklet, and you fill in all the details, literally. Wherever you're going, your parent to who or guardian to who, your details, phone number, everything, and perhaps even profession. And this sheet is actually burnt into, tailored into some kind of minutes that then get sent to a distribution list of all parents. So then when we went to para 6, I guess, where they're talking about communication, so the way they channel communication from the parents into the school, to class teachers, or perhaps even to the principal. And there was quite a bit of critical data that they were taking right there, because there's a profession, you have your phone number, full name, your kid's name, their class for that matter, okay? So I did realize, because when we were now in the meeting and we were discussing stuff, and I remember it was para 6 under communication. And then, there was feedback from parents themselves, and there's one parent did rise up and said, I lost money last term, and to someone who just said, oh, I'm so-and-so's class teacher, and just whatever you're bringing up, and we took them to Osto. And, it's really crazy, so you have to send 15,000 shillings. She lost, this lady particularly lost some good amount of money, and people are wondering as to how this information got out there. So I told them pretty much, like, this is pretty simple, straightforward. We may not want to blame the school or the teachers themselves, because chances are rare, Yes, they can do that, but chances are rare that the information is coming out from the teachers. But it's obvious, it's right in front of us. If you guys are giving us minutes where every parent is now having every other parent's information, and you know what? Not all of us parents that are having their pupils here are clean or are as clean as Lady Godiva's horse, as they say, are angels for that matter.
Some people's character.
A lot of us sat in this room are thugs. I told them, yes, people are looking by their shoulders and trying to check out who's a thug right there or something, but it's the truth, right? We are not immune, and that was just representative of the society that we lived in. So just with that feedback alone, I did help the school, and with that, people are just told, you know what, parents, hey, let's stop right there. With that kind of, input from that particular, and that was me. They said, oh, just tear off those papers that have the parents' names, and so all we'll have to mention is just your, So you don't need to have your phone number, because the school has your phone number. They want to reach out to you.
And that is why I was talking about the 3 Ds of security. So any security function should be able to detect, delay, and defend.
True.
So what you did there, basically, you helped the school to be able to detect their vulnerable points. So once you did that, you came up with measures that will delay. So if somebody had written his name without his address or without his occupation, him or her being a target, that is already delayed.
This is already delayed, because I mean the information that they have in their hands is just as parents. They don't know your occupation. They don't know, and people can guess. If you said you're a judge of the Supreme Court, people are able to measure you against some level of richness or expertise or whatever that paints you right there as a target.
Exactly, and as for the school, the final D, which is defend, the school has now, when they tore off the paper and stopped
then
whatever,
they prevented themselves from getting or falling prey.
In a way, they have defended the parents. So that's why we are talking about the security elements, the 3 Ds. And it's quite critical for us to look at it in different ways. It's not foolproof on its own when you're talking about school settings. As parents as well, when you brought up the issue about schools, I saw a student whose uniform had his name and admission number. And then you ask yourself, why are students, or why are you children are being kidnapped.
Yeah.
You know, by just writing, you know, protection of information.
It's very vital.
There's some level of information that we as, you know, citizens give out to the public, not knowing that we're putting ourselves in risk.
True.
You know, I see even people who put their ID cards at the back of their phones.
Yes.
Yeah, they put their job cards. And these are day-to-day things that, you know, you're exposing yourself to risk.
Yeah.
Because it's just easy for somebody to get your details and, you know that, okay, you have your job card, you're working in place X, so that person calls you pretending to be, you know, your boss or a client.
Or someone.
Exactly.
You know.
And they get to tap into that information and probably defraud you or maybe put you in harm's way.
Yes.
So the steps that are supposed to be taken by the common mwananchi to make sure that they are safe starts from how you begin your day in the morning.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, you know, having a purpose, you be more deliberate in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Plan your day in advance. Don't just wake up and decide to do something because you want to do it. You need to plan.
Yeah.
See the end at the beginning.
True.
And that is what people miss out. So I was telling you about the, you know, the students whose names are written on their shirts or their sweaters or their bags. That is a habit that I think...
It's a habit that is I mean, it didn't start with the case that we have today.
Yeah,
it started
way back.
Way back, and it does. And it was in answer to perhaps us losing pieces of kit or uniform or things like that. And so it was seen right to, hey, let's have, if it's your color, no one's going to change that color. Yes, answered some questions, you know, some critical questions with regards to the security of avoiding falling prey to people just steal your uniform. And of course, it's not marked, this is my shirt, no, it's not your shirt. Yes, that was one. But to an extent, yes. Now with the newness of what's happening in the security, you know, landscape right now, the battlements have changed. So if you cast your eyes across the battlements that the security and safety is, it's now a fixation on a wrong scoreboard for that matter, because information is power right now, and information that's critical in the wrong hands means someone else's life is at stake.
You're vulnerable.
You're very vulnerable. So those are the things. These are baselines that have moved. Yes, it was an answer, but now it's yesterday's answer to today's problems. Today's problems are such that wrong information or the right information in the wrong hands may spell doom to someone else. So what do we do then to adjust accordingly and change this? Perhaps, you know, the questions that I tell people, we won't be here, perhaps even as security and safety experts, if everybody was an angel. For real, our jobs would be
out of a job.
We'd be out of work. But just culturing ourselves, socializing ourselves into, you know, just being good people and morally upright people. And so I would rather, you know, the schools to drill, you know, into the pupils or into the students' psyche, good manners, and to have strong cultures that actually support doing the right thing.
Integrity,
because if you invest into protecting something, that on the flip side, it actually means that you're expecting people to be bad-mannered, you're expecting people to be thugs.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So what are we teaching our children, especially the people that are watching this space? Yes, things still have got to be done, but I think we need to preach more, you know, morals, especially when we are bringing up the young, you know, who are coming up to be the next, you know, generation. We have to invest more in, because we can invest and scale up any security settings as much as it can, but it's going to be skyrocketing. You know, it will be more and more expensive at the end of the day.
And that's why I was talking about, you know, like treating the symptoms instead of treating the disease.
More of band-aids, yes. You apply a bandage to a wound and assume that you are cured. So the cure is absolutely important. I think that's why the human factor, for me, and especially with the way I highlight security and safety analysis, brings and shines very strong light on the human factor, because it's a human factor that's very critical at the end of the day. Machines will work, you know, but on the command of human beings, they won't work by themselves.
Exactly. In the back end, it's the human.
In the back end, it's the human being. So the way we conduct ourselves as human beings and the, you know, the motives involved, as you are critically highlighting here, is absolutely important. And what I think people have to focus on mostly is just to play, you know, with a level of critical analysis of what happens and be purposed in terms of what, because if you are to leave town, as they say, leave home to town, and you know, and you have a level of expectation, I'm going to be riding in a matatu, or I'm going to be picking an Uber. If that doesn't look like, and the situations where people have had to, you know, lose loads and loads of money, lose their bags, and potentially women have been raped by some of these taxi people. So we just requested for one, and then someone rocks up with a different vehicle. That already is a red flag.
Exactly.
And you've had to see a lot of people fall prey. I don't know if you've had the same situations.
I've heard about it. And when you're talking about situational awareness, it doesn't only mean you become a gray man. A gray man in the sense that you're invincible to, you're not a threat. You're not a target.
Yes.
So it probably means that you know what you need to do. You know what is expected, as you're talking about. Then if something is amiss, then you're able to notice on time that, hey, something is amiss.
Yes.
And people do ignore this small bits. Like in Uber, you find that probably you're having lunch or you're sitting out with your friends and it's time to go home. You order your Uber or your taxi to take you home. And while you're doing that, somebody comes, probably just the Swahili says, kikulacho kinguoni mwako.
True.
You're sitting among people who probably you don't know all of them, and then somebody
offers to drop you off.
Not even exactly, not even offers. That person has had that conversation that you want to go home, and you've just called an Uber. And probably that person is driving a car that probably looks like an Uber. But his intention is not to take you home. His intention is to defraud you. So because he has been part of that conversation, what do? They talk to probably the security guard there, and that security guard tells you that, hey, your car is here to pick you.
The taxi's over there.
It's over there. And who's the taxi driver? That person was sitting right there. Then he tells you, probably you ordered for the Uber, but
I have Taxify.
I have Taxify.
Platform altogether.
Yeah,
but it's
my colleague told me that there's no level of proof that this person indeed is an Uber driver or a Taxify driver. And at the end of the day, you agree, because you're not aware of what is supposed to be right. So at the end of the day, this person drives you to some place
and you are probed, whatever happens.
What people go through is, words cannot even express. But it's just due to lack of knowledge,
situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Being very categorical in whatever you're doing. If at all that is not the vehicle that you're supposed to be boarding.
It's as best as I do. Never be in a hurry to get yourself killed. Rush out of the door and get yourself killed.
Exactly.
So that's typically what the business of life is all about. And as you are highlighting, it all gets back to the 3 Ds. And of course, if you were to spruce it up, the level of situational awareness that you're talking about, which is very purposed. And the situational awareness has 3 things to it. It's the thoroughness in planning.
Exactly.
And of course, with the exercising that kind of whatever you're going through with forethought. So you are looking forward. And being forward driven like that means that you're able to foresee what could happen, and of course now develop contingencies against them.
Exactly.
And then you invest a fair level of vigilance, a moderate sense of vigilance. That basically those 3 things make up what we now call the situational awareness. And it's just those three.
It revolves around them. And we're talking about restaurants. Just the other day, there's a video that was making rounds of people being spiked.
Mchele.
Mchele business. It's a booming business.
It is.
People will spike your drink and then they, So, what I do if I'm going somewhere to have a soda or a drink, if I'm in the company of people that I don't know, if I'm alone, I won't leave that table. If the drink
unattended and your drink is halfway, even water.
Even water,
people have been spiked.
The trick that I usually use is that if it is 3/4 way and I went out, order another one.
Absolutely.
Or don't drink at all.
Absolutely.
It might look
wasteful to other people, but then it is not. Or clear your glass, leave whatever other contents if you're drinking something with the barman and tell him, have this and take care of it. So you know exactly who to target if it's a responsibility going to be pegged on whose shoulder. So that's what I tell guys, and trust me confidently, and we share in the same. We tell guys
all the time
that there are things I can confidently say I can never get into. I can never get mchele for that matter. Mimi sisi kwa mchele. I can never.